All the way back in 2017, I specifically remember telling myself I'll do anything to watch the Penguins win back-to-back cups. I kept on telling myself that I don't care what happens after that. Let them lose every year. Let them not even make the playoffs. I didn't care. I just wanted to see the back-to-back and the happiness that it brought. I got what I wished for. The Penguins won the Stanley Cup. Life was amazing. Little did I know, in the moment, the hockey gods were going to give me exactly what I asked for, and that is failure to follow that back-to-back run. But here we are, 5 years later, half a decade of just disappointments after disappointments. And to me, this is the most devastated I've ever felt after a loss. When I look back at the entire 16 years of the Crosby, Malkin, Letang era, and I look at what was the most disappointing loss, obviously 2008 is there when they lost to the Red Wings, but at the time, it's a young team, so much to look forward to. 2010 really stung because they actually had a pretty good path to go back-to-back. 2013 really sucked, but they got swept. It wasn't as disappointing. It wasn't a Game 7 close game. They were getting destroyed the whole time. A few more disappointments after that, but it makes up for it because the Penguins had won back-to-back cups, so pretty much anything that happened from 2010 to 2015 doesn't matter anymore. But all those disappointment moments that I just mentioned all had the same ending. Okay, it happens. You can't win every year. We still have the core. We'll try again next year. For the first time, you can't really say that now. There's no guarantee, but there's a good chance we just witnessed the final game of Crosby, Malkin, and Letang all together on the same team. And to me, that's what makes this disappointment the top out of all of them, because there might not be a chance you can run it back next year. And I really expected the Penguins to win this series. I had this false hope that makes the disappointment even tougher to swallow. You're up 3-1 in the series. You're in that Game 5 to try and close it out. And then you'll have the worst possible thing to happen, and it's Crosby getting injured. Completely changed everything. You score at least 3 goals in 6 of the 7 games against the guy that got nominated for the Hart. Not many goalies get nominated for the Hart. The guy that's gonna win the Vezina. And there was absolute no problem, not in any of the games, scoring goals on him. He didn't have one game where he just stole the whole thing. He had the game 2, but the Penguins got blown out in that game. Game 1, he set the franchise record for most saves, but the Penguins won the game. The Penguins chased him out in games 3 and 4, which was crazy, and then scored 3 goals in each games 5, 6, and 7, which they should have at least won one of them and lost all 3. Before the series started, everybody thought the series was going to be over in 5. So the fact, again, that they got this to 7 was very impressive. But I'll never look at this how we should be looking at it, with the reasons I just mentioned. You got this to 7 versus a very good team. Your both goalies were out for pretty much the whole thing. I'll always remember this series with, you were up 2-0 in Game 5, and then one hit changed the whole thing. But anyways, I'm speaking too much here. Let's actually talk about the Game 7. We got 3 huge surprises. Crosby was playing tonight. Tristan Jarry was playing tonight. And Rickard Rakell was playing tonight. But anyways, the game starts. The Penguins get a really good 4th line shift that almost got them on the board. Shesterkin made some great saves. So now the fans have a lot of energy after those saves. They go back the other way, and not even, 15 seconds later, 2-on-1, Kreider does no mistake. Absolute rocket beating Jarry. It was a 2-on-1. Jarry was moving across. It was a great shot to beat him. If Jarry made that save, it would have went down as probably the save of the night. It's really tough to stop that. I spoke about this all sorts in games 5 and 6, and I was going to mention it here in game 7, and that is the special team. So right at the end of the first period, it's Heinen who at first didn't look like it was in, but they had to stop the play. He just crosses the line with his goal, and he saves the Penguins from a disappointing power play, because they got a 4-minute power play from Matheson being high stick. And there was already a 4-on-4. So it was a 4-on-3 that the first unit did nothing with. And when that ended and they had that 4-minute power play going, the first unit, again, did nothing. So it was at the very end that the second unit had to save the day, and Heinen gets that goal. And that was a huge goal because it was with about a minute left in the period. So the fact that you escaped that first period, tied 1-1 on the road in a game 7, huge. Then I love the second period. You get another power play goal from the first unit this time. Beautiful play from Jake Gensel, from his skate to his stick, just gets it under the crossbar, makes it 2-1 Penguins. And the Rangers, minutes later, tie it up again. Another own goal for Matheson. And I can't even come here and blame him, because I think it's the 4th time this series. Each one of the times that happened to Matheson, nothing he could do on all the play. How on earth do you get this one guy to score 4 goals off his skates or off redirections that he had no control of? The Rangers now get that big power play that they would normally score on in games 5 and 6. but Evan Rodriguez strips the puck from the blue line, gets himself a breakaway. He was dead tired, but he was doing his best to keep his speed. He had the defenseman all over him. He was forced to be on his backhand. Shesterkin was actually playing that perfectly because the way Rodriguez was, he had no way he could have elevated that puck. He does elevate the puck, fools Shesterkin, and gets that huge goal with, again, late in the period, just like the first period, they get that huge late goal. The Penguins played an almost perfect third period, up by one, shut it down type of game that you have to play in third periods of playoff games when you're up by one. It was like a cycle. You get on the ice, chip it in, get it 200 feet away from your own end, try to kill as much as clock as possible, and then when the Rangers get the puck, block everything. Just in the second period alone, there was a huge block from Jason Zucker. He's playing hurt. Then your captain, who maybe is also playing hurt, huge block. He's hobbled over on the bench. That sends a message to your team. And then you had Brock McGinn with a huge block in that same second period. Penguins were blocking everything tonight, and they were doing a perfect job in that third period. Huge penalty kill somewhere in that third. Jari was making some great saves. Jari made that huge breakaway save to keep it a 3-2 game. So when Jari made that save, in my head, I was starting to celebrate it, but I thought, okay, this is it. It's happening. Rangers get that breakaway, and when Jari makes that save, I'm thinking, finally, maybe this is it. Finally, we get to go to the second round. And keep in mind, I don't want to win a Stanley Cup. I saw my team win Stanley Cups. This whole time, all I wanted was a round victory. Just make it to the second round. But anyways, back to the third period. Clock is ticking down. Penguins are doing such a fantastic job, like a well-oiled machine, just no flaws. Like they're playing the game to perfection to try and protect this 3-2 lead, until a flaw in the well-oiled machine, and that is Pettersson having his helmet yanked off by Alexis Lafreniere. And now you have this rule where you have to either put it on or go to the bench. So Pettersson decides to go to the bench, and you can't blame him for that, because in the moment, where is your helmet? By the time you look for it, find it, put it on, it's just as the same thing as being away from the play. So he made the right call. He saw where's his helmet. He was looking to the ref for the call. Instead, he just, okay, let me get off the ice. But for the first time in the third period, the Penguins just seemed a bit lost in their own zone. John Marino doesn't have his defensive partner. He makes a weak play to get the puck out, turns it over. Chris Letang coming in for Marcus Pettersson. You can't blame him. Everyone was a bit lost, because that play, which had Marcus Pettersson leave his position, threw everybody off. The puck gets to Zibanejad, and he does no mistake. Another beautiful shot, beating Tristan Jarry. Now we have a 3-3 game, and that absolutely killed me, because when I saw them score, I had all the doubt in the world. I'm like, maybe it's not meant to be. Because a few minutes before that, when Jarry made that breakaway save, I was convinced we're going to round 2. Nothing happens after that, so now we have another overtime. But I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't feeling it going into that overtime. I had the worst vibes. We get that amazing feeling in game 1, winning in triple overtime. I'm like, there's no way we get it again in the same series. But it is overtime, and all it is just one shot that goes in your favor, and it's over. But this is the opposite of game 1. It didn't go the distance. It was pretty early in the first overtime. Brock McGinn has the puck at the point, and what on earth are you doing? This is overtime. Every play, if you don't have a play, is get the puck behind the goal line. Just chip it there. Let's get the cycle going. You're not Connor McDavid. You're not going to outskate anybody. You're on your own blue line. You don't have a play, and you have no reinforcements behind you. Get that puck off your stick. Get it on goal, get it behind the net, do something with it. Brock McGinn does nothing with it, and it's the Rangers stealing it from him, going the other way, getting almost a breakaway, and the Penguins are forced to take a penalty to prevent a good scoring chance, and they did no mistake. It was Panarin scoring his biggest goal as a Ranger, and just like that, game over. And yet another disappointment. I was really in disbelief, and I'm gonna be honest, I actually started tearing up. I cried a bit. I couldn't help it. I don't really know the last time I cried for a Penguins loss. I did a lot when I was a kid. I don't think I've done it for a few years. I remember the Kuznetsov overtime winner got me in some tears. And the second the Rangers scored, my initial reaction was, and you put your hand on your head. I was in this position right here, fighting back tears for a good 4 minutes right after that goal. I didn't even see the replay, nothing. I still have yet to see the replay, and I'm not going to. All I'm looking at is black, and all I hear is that Rangers goal horn, and all I'm thinking about is, oh my God, I just saw the last game of Crosby, Malkin, Letang after the best memories they've given me. So yes, I was sad about the loss, but what made it get to that next level, to have tears come from my eyes, is the fact that it was the end of an era. And in today's sports, you do not see players staying too long with the same team. You'll see a lot of bouncing around. The fact that we got to witness Crosby, Malkin, Letang together for almost 2 decades, and all those successful years, right? Those 3 championships, to me is insane. And I'm saying all this like it's confirmed, it's over. It's not, right? There is a chance they all come back, and there's nothing I want more than July 1st to come, or before that, because they could sign them before. There's nothing I want more than to see that notification. Malkin and Letang are staying, and just keep the trio going and let them finish their careers in Pittsburgh. At the end of the day, the Penguins had their best chances towards the end of this window in these last 2 years. The core was still getting it done despite being a bit older. They had good enough depth. They actually outplayed their opponents in most of the games in both last year and this year, but couldn't get the job done. Now the core is 1 year older. Who knows if they're going to be back? And the depth will absolutely get crushed next year. Malkin, Letang, Rodriguez, Heinen, Rust, Raquel, all unrestricted free agents. What are the odds you sign all of them, if not even half of them? But hey, at least you'll have Jeff Carter coming back next year, you know? Obviously, I'm being sarcastic, but why did they sign him, man? And at first, I liked the sign. I have a whole video on here that you can watch, me saying how much I like the signing. While we're going to lose half our depth for next year, we're going to have Jeff Carter at what, like 38 years old, playing in that bottom six for another 2 years. Great. I don't care. Get Crosby, Malkin, Letang to stay, and you can have the whole team filled with Jeff Carter. This video is getting a bit longer, but I can't end it without thanking everybody. Despite the outcome, despite the results, it's been a fun season, a lot of enjoyable moments. That stretch in January was the highlight of the year for me. Life was so good then. Everybody was going, everybody was clicking. Jari was a beast, you know. The Penguins had like 3 separate 5-game winning streaks along with a 10-game winning streak. So many good storylines, and it was so fun watching this team despite the outcome we got. I'd like to thank everybody for following me around throughout these years. This is my 8th season, you know, being on social media, covering the Penguins. The fact that I actually have people that somewhat care what I have to say about my favorite team just makes moments like this, these disaster losses, so much better, or not so much better, but not as bad as they should be, because they're not good at all. It still sucks. I always end all my videos by thanking you guys, but this one's an extra thank you because this is the final one of the year. Give me your thoughts on the game in the comments, and so it's not just negativity. Give me your favorite moment of the regular season. And as always, thank you so much for a great season. Thank you so much for watching me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.